on matters servants of the well-being of civil servants across the length and breadth of this nation. The Civil Service Agency is a central government agency that has the statutory mandate to supervise, to manage the civil service, those work in the public sector. We have between 65 to 70,000 civil servants across the length and breadth of this nation through all ministries, all agencies, and commissions of the government. So we want to say this is a program. It brings you up to speed on matters relative to all of your needs, all of the things you want to know. And it comes out every morning. We want to say welcome to the Civil Service Hour. I am your presenter, Joseph N. Swen, Director of Communications and Public Relations at the Civil Service Agency. On behalf of the Director General, Honorable James A. Thompson, I want to, in this public manner, to say kudos to all civil servants who exercise their constitutional mandate to take part in the electoral process. I mean, on the 10th of this month, that is last Tuesday, and we want to say thank you for being so peaceful in our process. It is your constitutional right as Liberians to always partake in these civil matters. So we want to say the Director General wants to say kudos to you and thanks, and let us remain peaceful, as this country can only be prosperous, can continue to be developed, and to continue to enjoy the development it is ongoing if we all remain peaceful and take ownership of the peace or the welfare of this country. This is why he continues to urge every one of us civil servants and Liberia in extension to remain peaceful and coordinate or conduct ourselves in very peaceable manner. So the Director General James A. Thompson is again commending every one of us for the manner in which we conducted ourselves. Today we will be highlighting, like what was done before the elections. There was a circular from the Office of the Director General where we talk about political campaign and participation leave for civil servants. Now that the elections are over, I mean, we want to say, we want to just read out some or to remind of our certain clauses that were there. And I think it is important that we highlight those clauses so that nobody is taken aback or to say, hey, I wasn't informed. But we want to say this is the Civil Service Hour. The Civil Service Agency is the agency that programs this show. And we want to say thanks to the management of LBS for giving us this space to bring out information relative to all civil servants. As you are aware, and my boss always said, civil servants are the key catalyst to transmitting government's policy into actions, so implementable policies into action. That is, the policies are there. Those who implement those policies that have been crafted by every administration or every regime, those are the civil servants. So they are there. They carry out the job on a daily basis. So that's why people will say that civil servants are always neutral. Of course, they are, and then but they are Liberians as well. So in as much as they have their own affiliations, they have to. When it comes to doing your job, you take politics out of it and you focus on doing your job, and that's why the civil service is there to guide you through the process. Firstly, it is there to recruit qualified Liberians into the civil service, and then once you are recruited, it is there to remind every one of us to become professionally driven on our various jobs or the various assignments. Wherever you are, you have to be so professional, and is there to protect civil servants through the standing orders. The civil servants are guided by the standing orders, and then this is why the agency continues to call on all civil servants, all head of institutions, all heads or HRs, as well as all civil servants in particular, to read the standing orders of the civil service, because it is through the standing orders you got to understand the do's and don'ts as civil servants. So it is important that we take note of the standing orders and go through them, just as we will it is required of every citizen to be abreast with the constitution, the organic law of the state, that is the constitution of the state. Same is addressed to civil servants to be cognizant of the standing orders, because it guides you. And as head of institution, it is also good for you to know that, because then you get to know how you govern civil servants, what are your rights, what wouldn't be your rights, so that, because if you just make decisions without following the guidelines from the standing order, sometimes it embarrasses you, because you wouldn't be making decisions that will be in the interest of the institution, or to follow the laws. So we want to say, let us keep reading the standing orders. So I will go back to the circular that came, and this circular was timely posted or circulated from the Office of the Director General, and that was in May, the 25th of May, 2023. That is, he needed to send his communication out so that it serves as a reminder to all civil servants. But there's a particular clause there, but I would try to read all of those things so that we can have the connection of what I'm saying, or I'm going to highlight to every one of us. Fine. So uh, we went going to A. We say, firstly, he said, I present my compliments and write to inform all civil servants wishing to join the official list of candidates to be elected into public office must abide by the following as indicated in Chapter 7.2.9 of the Standing Orders for the Elaborate Civil Service. A civil servant who is satisfied by the Elections Commission and is a bona fide candidate will be required to take a leave of absence without pay during his or her campaign period, which officially begins with the publication of the official list of satisfied candidates by the National Elections Commission. The period of campaigning or political leave will end when the results of the elections are published. So A plus A in this circular tells us that yes, it is your right as civil servant if you want to partake in or to become elected in any of the public or offices, electable offices. It is your right as a Liberian. Yes, you are a public servant or you're a civil servant, but it's your right to doing so. However, you are to apply for the leave of absence. And when you apply for the leave of absence, it means that you wouldn't be paid during that time of the leave of absence. I just want to bring that up to us so that nobody comes back and say, oh, I've been away for 2 months, 3 months, and I need to have retroactive. There's nothing. The law is there. It's stated within that. So we thought need to. So the grace period is, that leave of absence will start beginning of the campaign or when that is the publication of the names. That's bona fide now. It is now when you're thinking about that. No, when you should have gone through the process with NEC, and NEC tells you, hey, you are qualified now, and your name has been published. I mean, it's on the list or official listing. Then, of course, you can now apply. So that's A of A. So again, we say a civil servant who is satisfied by the Elections Commission and is a bona fide candidate will be, that is bona fide. You are satisfied, number one, but you're a bona fide candidate. One, it means that NEC has gone through you've gone through all of the rudiments with NEC, and NEC have said, hey, you are satisfied, they're going through the process, and you're bona fide now. That before, it would not take effect when you were thinking about it, but after you should have gone through the process. It said take a leave. You are required to take a leave of absence. That is, you are required. You can say if you want to do, you do. If you don't know, you are by law, by the standing orders, you are required. Thankfully, I know most people, everybody did it because the circular we kept. Besides the circular going out to the various HRs of the of all spending entities of government, that is the ministries, agencies, commissions, we also on this show we highlighted it on so many times. The Director General asked us to keep highlighting only because he thought it was necessary. Some people were not fortunate to have read that, or may have, it may have slipped their mind. But by reading it and highlighting it on this show, I mean, and through our other platforms, uh, public relations platforms, like we have the website, we got the various chat rooms and other things. We taught people adhere to it. So, like we say, now come to B, and this is important because we thought it is important for us. So, after election, somebody may ask, why is it you have to bring that up now? Now that elections are over, there's a clause that you understand the connect, because we want to just bring it so that you understand that, because somebody may feel that now elections over, they are still sitting down. There's something there for us to understand. So, folks, this is the Civil Service Hour here on ELBC. We have the number. We will open the lines when we shut up. When there's a time for us to open the line, but for now, this number we say 0880514096. It is a number we will announce when we open the line, but we just want to give you the number so that maybe you could partake into the conversation. So we'll go to B. B says a candidate, if unsuccessful, if he or she chooses, may return to his or her original position held as the civil servant prior to the elections campaign, consistent with section 3.4.8, or another position of equal grade and remuneration as applied in section 3.4.9b of the standing orders for the civil service. Everything we are saying here, this circular is based on the standing order. So we're saying, please get this right. B, firstly, A said you have the right to apply, but you must apply for what? A leave of absence. It is your right to apply for leave of absence. And leave of absence, you are not to be paid within the period. So if you were to go apply and the entire process lasted for 3 months, it means that your monthly salary, you wouldn't receive it. And it is non-retroactive. It is not retroactive. Nobody going to pay you to say, okay, yeah, so you didn't pay me for 3 months, and when I come back, you will give it. No, you are not to be paid. So I'll put it simple. You are not to be paid. Nobody going to pay you. I mean, the fact that you decide to go to, I'm not saying those who go in to vote, those who are contesting, who decided to contest in being a president, be senator or representative, out of those categories, when you apply for the leave of absence, you are not going to be paid. You wouldn't receive any pay for each of the months, and then there is nothing called retroactive. They're not going to pay you back to say, I come back now, you'll pay me back. It's not there. We'll go a little bit simple so we understand that. Now, B will still continue with B. A candidate, if unsuccessful, now this is for us. There are some of us who applied for the leave of absence. We are civil servants. We applied for the leave of absence because we wanted to partake, or we were satisfied and were on the bona fide list of as candidate. We went through the process and were not successful. Okay, right now somebody may say NEC has not come, but there are a few of us. I'm just reading out the things so that it's possible that you could, because our program comes every Monday, maybe before Monday, who knows? You could have all of the final result, whatever it is. But then, yeah, it's your issue. So if a candidate, if unsuccessful, if you decide, if you went there and apparently you didn't succeed, you were not voted for by the people, and you decide to come back, this one now, they give you the right. You now will decide to come back, because some people, when they are defeated, they decide not to come back. Maybe they have different options somewhere. I don't know who already be defeated wouldn't want to come back anyway. If you decide not to come back. But if you decide to come back, that is to come back to your job as, take for instance, why if I went and I applied for leave of absence and I went by, I use myself as an example now, and I went, but I was not successful. I decide to come back. I have to come back. So I could come back. You return to his or original position. I can come back to my position, return to my position as a civil servant, but civil servant, I have the right to come back. And it's consistent. They got laws. All of these things are there. That's why we say read the standing orders and you will follow these things. And it makes it easier for us when we are explaining so that we grasp the concept or the concept of it already. The position of equal grade or whatsoever you want to go to follow the standing order. Now, C says, in connection with B, C says, if the unsuccessful candidate does not return to work within 14 days after the publication of the elections results, the regulations stated in section 3.4.16, there's something called unauthorized absence. And that's why I want us to focus on unauthorized absence. According to the standing orders, let me just paraphrase it. If a staff or civil servant leaves job unauthorized, decides to stay home without sending any excuse, and decides to stay home for 14 days in row, it means that you have abandoned the job and it is equal to resignation or what? Termination of your job, your employment. That is, you decide to stay at home or whatever it is, but you decide not to come to work for 14 days in a month. It means that you don't want a job. And according to the standing orders of the civil service, you must be dismissed. You must be fired. So that's why we thought it's important we tell you. If the unsuccessful candidate does not return to work within 14 days after the publication, but this can be done now. But when the publication of the final results is done, the HR of the various institution you find yourself will start to mark you absence or check on your attendance record. Therefore, you went, you took a leave of absence, and it is spelled out. In between this time, you should return. Once there's a final publication from NEC, this National Elections Commission, the HR now begins to see whether those who applied for the leave of absence and because of job and were unsuccessful have returned to job and started to take your attendance. Going at those days when people attendance was not important. This time around, attendance is important. Check it. Attendance is so important because you must account for the salary we receive. We must account for it. Going at those days where you sit in your office, you see somebody sit and then just waiting for the month and they come 1 or 2 days, 3 days, they come. This time around, attendance is important because number one, proficiency is by the result of your attendance at work. And also, it's not just coming because once you are there, then we know you follow the performance management as well. So attendance is so important. This is why we thought the circular said it. You have your right to go, and when you want to go, you have to apply for leave of absence. When you should have gone and did not make it, you also have the right to come back. Come back. But then the attendance will be checked from the final publication. Folks, this is the Civil Service Hour, your ELBC. Today we thought to just speak on the circular we sent the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, Honorable Thompson, sent out prior to the elections. Thankfully, the elections were held successfully and through a very peaceful manner. But we want to bring this out to you for some of us who went and didn't make it. Soon as the results are up, please make it your duty to come back to work or go back to work and start to sign in the book. This is another thing. The unsuccessful candidate wishing to return to his or her position as stated in section C above must take a written request to his or agency and send a copy to the Director General of the Civil Service immediately following the publication of elections result, which is when the days of absence will begin not to be counted. You understand what we say? Begins to be counted, sorry. So you apply for the leave of absence, you send a copy to your head of institution. You but it would be good to if you also send a copy to the Director General. Now that you are coming back, you also have to apply for record sake. Apply that, oh, I went to the contestation uh, into the elections, but I was unsuccessful. Now that I'm coming back to my job, it is always good, needful, befitting, and prudent enough for record's sake that you send a copy according to, and it's good that the crafter, those who crafted the policy of the standing orders, I mean, they were very prudent enough to know that it's good. Send a communication back to your people now. I'm coming back to work so that you have you on record. And why you have to send a copy to? Why is it good that you must send a CC copy to the office of the Director General? Somebody will say, "I will let me just crack the joke." Sometimes maybe your head of institution does not support the candidature. That is, you're working with someone, and then apparently maybe where you want to go and run, that person has an interest there. So if you didn't send a copy, why if and he has something with you, maybe you went there, he told you you shouldn't go, you shouldn't contest against his interest. I mean, you have the right to go, but him or as we are, sometimes these things can play in. So he or she has problem with you, and when you came back, maybe they want to find a fault on you to get rid of you. So the best thing you could do is as you send a communication of your return, send a CC copy to the office of the Director General. Because with that, anything that happens in that, apparently maybe the head of institution, because he wants to make some issues with you just to fire you or find a reason to fire you, he could say he didn't see or receive a letter from you. With that in mind, you can also reference the office of the Director General and say, "Oh no, but I made Swen send a communication to you, and this is the date." So it saves you. So it's a good thing. I think the crafter did well. They say it's a good thing once you send a letter of your return to your boss, then you also send a copy to the office of the Director General. It helps you in that way so that you be on the safe side. Because that 14 days of absence, if you allow it to for you to fall in, I agree. Sometimes during elections, when people lose so badly, they get so frustrated. But I can always tell you that elections that win, or you either win or you either lose. So don't be overly carried away. So come back to your work. Your work is there. Nobody is chasing you out, but it's just that you have to follow these steps. We thought to remind ourselves of these things, bring back the secular, read it out so that we will be in the know and don't say, "Oh, I did not know." Now you know. Let me go through it again. The unsuccessful candidate wishing to return, that is wishing, maybe you decide not to come, wishing to return to his or her position as stated in section C, that is, must make a written request to his or her agency head and send a copy to the office of the Director General of the Civil Service Agency. Mind you, the Civil Service Agency is that central government agency that manages, that supervises the public sector or all civil servants. So it's always good to go there because civil service agency also is there to not only recruit qualified librarians into the civil service or to make them to go through that proper professionalism or motivate them in whatever means. It is also there to protect. This is why they keep telling us to go through all of these things. Protect. It's there to protect you. So you must, with a written request, send it to your head of institution as well as to the office of director. That is immediately. And they use the word immediately. Don't take your time. Don't say, oh, I'll wait for 3 days. I'll wait for 1 week. I'll wait for 2 weeks. Because when you keep dragging, you are entering into the period where the HR of the institution or your institution will begin to check your attendance. They say immediately after the publication of elections results, soon as NEC announces the final, please do your letter. Do your letter and send it to your head of institution and bring a CC copy to the Director General of the Civil Service Agency. In their case, it saves you. It saves you. So we'll take a little break and we'll come back. We'll go through some of this, go through this again, highlight it. We'll keep highlighting it. From there, we'll talk some other issues. Folks, this is the Civil Service Hour, your ELBC. We'll go for freedom. We'll come back. We'll begin. We continue with where we stopped.
I get time to play, time to work. Work will I play my biggie man, chop or talk.
Hey, are you in the employ of government ministry or agency and want to know about the civil service agency, this sector of government that is responsible for recruitment, civil service test examination, performance management, and other information regarding the workings of the civil service agency? Civil Service Hour is that program you can get all the answers you need. Civil Service Hour is a 50-minute informative radio program that comes on ELBC Radio beginning Monday and every Monday at 12:05 in the afternoon. The program highlights civil service agency responsibility in managing the efficiency of government's workforce and disseminate government information to those in far-to-reach places. Civil Service Hour, a means of getting vital information to civil servants in counties other than Mosurado County. John Joseph Swain, Director of Communications and Public Relations, Civil Service Agency, for this informative radio program, Civil Service Hour, every Monday at 12:05 in the afternoon. Don't miss it.
If we want to build this nation.
Welcome, folks. Welcome back to our conversation for today. We try to highlight and bring you up to speed on the circular that was sent, called subject called the political campaign and participation leave for civil servants. I mean, that was sent or circulated on May the 25th of this year, May of this year, 2023. But we thought now the elections are over. We thought to remind us, because there are few things we thought to remind ourselves of, and we talk about unsuccessful candidates coming back to job and what they need to do. I mean, it is required that you come back. I mean, if you choose to come back to job after you went through the process and you weren't successful, and you thought it was you wanted to come back to job, I mean, it is your right to come back to job, and just as you were asked to go on or apply for, that is the leave of absence, when you express your intent and went through you went through the process with NEC. NEC certified you, and you were now pronounced as a bona fide candidate. You were asked to take a leave of absence, and that leave of absence, you're going to forfeit your salary within the period of that time. That is your monthly salary. You wouldn't receive it if you were to go for 3 days or 3 months. It means that in the 3 months time, or each month within the 3 months, you wouldn't receive your salary. And it is not retroactive. That is, you wouldn't be paid back when you should have returned. No, that is, you forfeit that. Forfeit means that it can never be given to you because of that. That's not the Director General's thought. I mean, that's in the law, that's in the standing orders. So once you take the leave of absence within a period of 3 months up to the time, you would not be giving any money, and when you come back you can ask. So we just thought to give you some highlight onto those issues, so that I mean you get a total understanding. I know you do, but just to remind ourselves of some of these things again. For if you were unsuccessful, you are required to come back. If you wish to come back now, you are required to come back. And then when you come back, because you apply for or the leave of absence, you also have to apply for their return. That is, I mean, you have to write to inform the head of institution or ministry that you went through a process and you are unsuccessful, and you are back. You are back. And then you also, according to the circular, you must send a CC copy to the office of the director general, so that it saves you in case there's some misunderstanding as to with your boss or whoever you will be having the issue with. You could always make a reference, say, oh, I CC copy the director general, and then it helps you a whole lot. Because mind you, according to the standing orders, when you are absent within a month 14 times, it means that, I mean, it's equal to abandonment, it's equal to you resigning, it's equal to you the reason that you should be fired, the reason that you should be laid off. I mean, if you absent yourself, or no, that is unauthorized absence. Unauthorized absence means that, I mean, your the head of institution or your supervisor or the HR is unaware the, of the reason for which you absent. So it's unauthorized. They didn't give you permit to go out, because absence sometimes take is authorized, but on this situation it is unauthorized. So 14 days you're fired. So again, they told you when you should have, soon as the official results are announced, start to write the letter and be return to work, because just within that time the HR will start to look at your attendance. And the attendance is not favorable, then they start to take out some actions against you. So these are issues we thought to bring to your doorsteps, or to your knowledge, so that you wouldn't see yourself into a situation that you won't be able to handle. I think you know that. So, folks, this is the Civil Service Hour. You're on ELBC. The number to call if you have any issue you want to join the conversation. We're running out of time, but we'll give you the number 080-514-096, 080-514-096. The producer will open the lines now, so that because of whatever we just said, if you have any contribution you want to make or concerns you want to raise, if we can answer, we will. If we can, we'll reference you to another time where we can provide the answer. So again, 080-514-096. It is the number to call. This is the Civil Service Hour here on ELBC. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, your name and where you calling from?
So my name is Badio, and I'm calling from Swedru.
Okay. Oh, you say Badio?
I have so much interest in the program.
Okay, thank you, sir. What's the concern, please?
You talk about liver accent, right?
Yes, yes.
So what happens if I want to leave, for example, if I went through injury or death? We have all the entity I'm working for, or you go and give me that my concern, please.
You ask a question again. Sorry, I didn't get it clearly. Okay, I think you are asking whether you were on the leave of absence and you went through injury, right? Okay, sorry, we missed him. I was trying to find out or get the question, but I think he was saying that you on the leave of absence and then you sustained injury, and so the leave of absence is where you're going to do your own thing, and then it means that you wouldn't be paid, like we said that. So within that time, you apparently if you went took a leave of absence and to do something private and you sustain injury. So I don't think the entity is responsible to cater to you in that effect. So leave of absence means that you're going to do your private thing. It is not the other leave where it is required within it. But yes, leave of absence is required, but when it comes to when it comes to leave of absence. Some people take leave of absence for 1 year. Some people take it for about 2 years to go and do other things. But once you go, a leave of absence means that you're going to do something that is private, and then things or private job or private vacation, anything, it means that the entity has no control over that. So I think I've made that explanation, that answer your concern, Chief from Strategy. Thank you for following from all the way Strategy. So the number 08005140096. 080514096 is the number to call. We have a conversation. We're just trying to highlight a circular that came out before elections, and it's also important that we give you some information with it. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, Chief Executive calling for District 5.
District 5. Your name again, I didn't get it.
Come again?
Your name.
Patrick Sima calling for District 5.
Okay, Frederick. Yeah, Frederick, what's the concern, sir?
Yeah, my concern, I beg you, let me little bit, not concerning the topic, but civil servant in general.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me up to the place. Listen.
What?
Just go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to know if the agency has a place to betterment where civil servant can put in for salary advance at the workplace, if there's a law supporting that, or civil servant can obtain a loan for a bank if there's a law to betterment the life of civil servant instead of just waiting for months.
Okay. So Frederick, you just want to find out, right? But so it is not a law, but I can tell you that under this administration, they will have this macro loan scheme. It's a private entity that is working in line with the civil service agency, and they can give the same like you talk about salary in advance. I mean, it's between them, but it's not a law to say that it is required to have it. So it depends which entity you work with. We have a group. There are two groups right now. I wouldn't want to call their names. So just go to your entity, go to the HR, and it will tell you exactly what it is. But we have this under this administration. That is possible, right? We have this macro loan scheme where people can give away, and even is in line with the LPS scheme. Also, we have the LPS scheme that is ongoing. So, and most civil servants are benefiting from it. All the materials you have, building materials, you got office, your utensils, you got a lot of kitchen utensils, you got a lot more. So others are benefiting. So just go to your HR and then tell them, they will tell you exactly what it is. But it is not a law that is enshrined within the civil service standing orders, but under this administration, civil servants are benefiting from all of those things. We have the micro loan scheme and the LPS scheme on the way. So I hope I answered that.
Okay.
Yeah. 080514096. We will take a few more calls. Hello? Hello, your name and where you calling from? Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm calling from River G Fish Town.
River G Fish Town, your name, sir, and your concern.
Yeah, I'm Anthony D. Stephen, work at the Fish Town Hospital.
Okay, Mr. Stevens, your concern, please.
Yeah, I have one situation that has to do with the civil servant regulation, as my boss now suggested.
Okay.
I've been with the institution since 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, and I understood that under the civil servant regulation, at the end of the year, we entitled to what we term as annual leave. Yeah, but working in the institution at the Fish Town Hospital in the operation room, to be more precise, in the abstract nurse, when the doctor work on the table to do operation.
Yeah.
But for each time I put in for my leave since 2017 until now, there is no one to work alone with me in the operation room. And I understood the fact that the civil servant data regulation, if you want to maintain the man of the leave, you have to pay for the month that you will sacrifice for that month.
But rather than that, the doctor will go in with the administrator and say, you know that the only man we depend on. So you must not allow the man to go on leave since 2017 until now. So I don't know why it is any tentative measure for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chief. From yes, so the civil service got to leave. You can go on leave. Every civil servant is entitled to a leave. It's not only after the end of the year. When you make a year, then you go on the leave. I think the policy is there. So whatever the situation with your own entity, I think maybe you are so important, but I think you are required to go on the leave. So I think please do a redress to maybe, since it's under the Ministry of Health, you can forward it to the Ministry of Health. But I think you are required. Every civil servant is required to go on a leave.
So that can make it. I can't go anywhere. I can't even visit family member because I've been suppressed administratively.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to you. There is unfair.
Yeah,
I mean, but I think you are required, like any other person. Myself, I can go on leave. Yeah. So
these are problems we face in the Southeast region. All of these benefits talking about relate to insurance. We are in the Southeast, we're not benefiting any of those things that you just saying this before hearing it.
Yes, we got some of your friends from EVTU who are benefiting from the LPS scheme. They are benefiting from the
decentral law, make it popular just the way we're taking the radio now. Somehow we're monitoring you. At least it will be more beneficial.
Okay, Chief, we'll work on that. But people in Pligo, in Hapo, they are benefiting from the LPS scheme and other micro loans. So thank you for your concern, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you. We got in there. We got a few more, one or two more calls to go. Hello? Hello? Okay, we missed that one. The number 08005140096. This is the Civil Service Hour. You're on ELBC. Hello? Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Mr. Bill calling from Sokene.
Mr. Doe, yeah, your concern, please. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, suppose you are on a leave and then you, like my colleague said, you owe some materials that need to be deducted from you at the end of every month and pay upside down. In your return, what is the next step or what will be done?
That is, you apply for a leave of absence. You made a leave of absence because there are so many leaves you got now. You have a leave of absence when you own a private thing, but we also have steady leave. We have maternal leave and other leave. So many. You got sickness leave as well. I mean, illness. If you are now well, medical leave, they return it. So with those, they do pay you. The only one they don't pay you is the leave of absence because you're going to do your private thing. So they don't pay you within that space. But your question is that, so if you apply for the leave of absence, obviously you wouldn't be paid. So when you come back, I think the HR has to look at all of those things too. Because mind you now, you can take, for instance, like the LPA. Maybe you sign in for LPA and you needed to pay every month. And that's a beautiful question though. But we will have to consider that. And then when you shall have returned, though you will not be paid for that period, when you shall have returned, it's possible that they could take a whole chunk from you. But I think it's negotiable with your HR.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So we wrapping up. We want to say thanks for the call. We can't take any more call. I think the producer just told us that we've run out of time. We want to say thank you. We thought today to highlight a circular that was sent in May before the elections, and the circular is such that it's also important for this after the election. We want to say take note to that. We want to say thank you, civil servants, for being peaceful during the electoral process, and let us continue to remain peaceful in everything. Whatever comes out, we say Liberia comes first. This has been Joseph Ernest Swin, Director for Communication here at the Civil Service Agency, and this has been the program, the Civil Service Hour. Thank you, and we'll see you on the fresh edition Monday. Bye.
Get time to play, time to work. Work will I play my biggie, man, chop on top.
Hey, are you in the employ of government ministry or agency